Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract money effortlessly while you work hard and can barely breathe financially? It's not luck, it's not privilege, and it's definitely not because you're not trying hard enough. In fact, here's the truth no one ever told you. The more you push, the more you repel prosperity. I know, it goes against everything you were taught. But what if I told you there's a hidden law, an invisible force, operating right now, determining whether money flows toward you or away from you, and that most people go their entire lives without ever realizing this law exists? You've been conditioned to believe in something that simply doesn't work, and the more you follow that path, the further you get from true prosperity. Maybe you've felt it, that sensation of running on a treadmill, working more and receiving less, watching other people move forward while you stay stuck. That's not a coincidence. There is something happening behind the scenes of your reality that you still can't see. Something that, once understood, changes absolutely everything. And that's why you're here now. Now imagine waking up knowing, not hoping, but knowing, that money is coming your way, that opportunities will appear, that you don't need to fight, compete, or work yourself to the ground to prosper. Imagine living in a state where abundance is natural, where life flows, where you attract instead of chase. This isn't fantasy. It's spiritual physics. It's the law of attraction applied with precision. And in this video, you're going to discover exactly how to activate this hidden law that makes you magnetic to money. Get ready, because what you're about to learn will challenge everything you were taught, and it will set you free once and for all. Margaret was 52 when she realized she was exhausted. Decades working 2 jobs, always rushing, always fighting. And the money? It never stayed. It was like filling a leaking bucket. She believed hard work was the only path to prosperity, until a friend told her something that changed everything. Margaret, you're chasing money. You need to let it come to you. At first, it sounded crazy, but she decided to try. She began visualizing abundance every day, changed her beliefs about deserving, and stopped acting out of desperation. Within 6 months, an opportunity appeared out of nowhere, a business she wasn't even looking for. Today, Margaret lives with financial freedom and says, "I didn't work more. I worked differently." Margaret's story isn't an exception. It's evidence of an invisible law most people don't know exists, and you're about to discover that same law. Get ready, because what comes next will challenge everything you've learned about money, effort, and destiny. Have you noticed how some people work themselves to exhaustion and barely pay the bills, while others seem to attract prosperity with far less effort? It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's because they understood something no one ever taught us. Hard work alone does not create wealth. In fact, it can even push money away from you. Yes, you read that right. The belief that the harder I work, the more I deserve, is a mental trap that keeps millions stuck in cycles of scarcity. The truth is that abundance doesn't respond to sweat. It responds to the energy you emit. Think about how many times you've worked until you were drained, believing that would prove your worth. How many times you've said, "I don't have time," to rest, dream, or simply be present. This mindset comes from deep conditioning. We were told we must earn the right to prosper. But the universe doesn't work that way. It doesn't measure your physical effort. It responds to your vibration, the clarity of your mind, the quality of your thoughts. When you act from fear of not having enough, you're sending a clear message. I don't trust that life will support me. And the universe, like a faithful mirror, gives back exactly that. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't take action. It means there's a massive difference between working with faith and working with desperation. One attracts, the other repels. Margaret discovered this when she stopped fighting against life and started aligning with it, and you can do the same. But before you understand how to attract without forcing, you need to know the true source of all wealth, something invisible, powerful, and always available to anyone who knows how to access it. And that's what we're going to talk about now. There is an invisible substance that permeates everything that exists. It's in the air you breathe, in the cells of your body, in distant stars, and in the money that circulates around the world. The ancients called it ether. Spiritual masters call it universal consciousness. But the name matters far less than understanding what it does. This substance responds to your thoughts. It is malleable, intelligent, and waiting to be shaped by your mind. Every material form of wealth you see around you, houses, cars, companies, fortunes, began as an idea, a mental vibration that took shape in this thinking substance. Most people live as if the world were fixed, as if everything has already been decided and all that's left is to fight for the scraps. But that is an illusion. The truth is that you're not competing for anything. You're creating. Every thought you hold with faith and clarity sends waves into this substance, and it begins to organize itself to bring the physical equivalent to you. That's why two people can be in the same financial situation, and one prospers while the other sinks. The difference is not in what they do. It's in what they think, feel, and believe about prosperity. The thinking substance doesn't judge. It only reflects. Now here's the secret that changes everything. You don't need to know how the money will arrive. You only need to know that it will arrive. Your only task is to impress a clear image of what you desire onto your mind and keep that image alive with the energy of certainty. The universe handles the rest. But there's a problem, and it's a big one. Most people sabotage this process before it even begins. They say they want abundance, but spend the entire day thinking about bills, debts, and lack. And without realizing it, they are carving scarcity into the same substance. But what truly blocks manifestation is not a lack of faith. It's something more subtle, and you need to understand it now. Here's a truth that may sound strange at first. Excessive effort is a sign that you're out of alignment. When you push, force, struggle, and exhaust yourself trying to make things happen, you're telling the universe, I don't trust that this can be easy. I need to control everything. And do you know what happens? The energy of struggle attracts more struggle. The vibration of exhaustion attracts more exhaustion. You enter a cycle where you work more and receive less, because your mind is programmed for scarcity, not abundance. Effort itself is not the problem. The problem is the type of effort, the kind that comes from fear, doubt, and the belief that you need to prove your worth. Think about how nature works. The apple tree doesn't force its fruit to grow. It simply creates the conditions and trusts the process. The river doesn't strain to reach the sea. It flows. And that is exactly how prosperity works. When you are aligned with the thinking substance, when your mind is clear and your faith is firm, things begin to flow. Opportunities appear. The right people show up. Money arrives through paths you never imagined. But this only happens when you release control and trust the infinite intelligence that governs everything. Margaret spent years forcing things, until she understood she needed to stop swimming against the current and start floating with it. Now, don't confuse this with laziness or passivity. You will still take action, but your actions will be guided by inspiration, not desperation. They will be light, not heavy. They will carry the energy of someone who already knows the victory is certain, not someone trying to rip something out of the universe by force. When you act this way, the outcome changes completely. But to reach this state, you first need to understand the difference between two mindsets, and one of them is stealing your prosperity without you even noticing. Let's talk about that now. There is an invisible line that separates the people who prosper from those who merely survive. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's mindset. On one side, you have the competitive mindset, the one that says the world is limited, that you must fight for your share, that if someone wins, someone else must lose. This is the energy of scarcity. It makes you look at others with envy, compare your life to theirs, feel like you're behind, or that you've missed your moment. When you operate this way, your mind is constantly on alert, trying to protect the little you have and grab whatever you can. And do you know what that vibration attracts? More competition, more struggle, more lack. On the other side, there is the creative mindset. This is the awareness that the universe is infinite, that real scarcity doesn't exist, that you can create wealth out of nothing simply by aligning your thoughts with the thinking substance. Those who live this way don't see someone else's success as a threat. They see it as inspiration. They don't need to steal opportunities, because they know they can generate their own. This person understands that abundance is an internal state, not an external one. And when you shift your vibration from competitive to creative, something magical happens. You stop fighting life and start co-creating with it. Doors open, synchronicities multiply, money arrives in surprising ways. Margaret lived for years in the competitive mindset. She looked at colleagues earning more and thought, why them and not me? And that kept her stuck. Only when she changed her focus from how do I take from them to how do I create for myself, everything began to shift. And that shift starts with something simple but powerful, a clear vision of what you want. Without it, you're navigating in the dark. But when you define your vision and keep it alive in your mind, you activate a magnetic force the universe cannot ignore. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. Your mind is like a GPS. If you don't enter the address, it has no idea where to take you. Most people go through life saying, I want more money, I want a better life, but those are far too vague. The universe doesn't respond to generic requests. It responds to clear, specific, emotion-charged images. When you define exactly what you want, not just the number in your bank account, but how you'll feel, what you'll do, who you'll become, you create a mental mold, the thinking substance begins to fill. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process and keep the vision alive. Here's the secret. Your vision needs to feel so real in your mind that you already experience the emotion of having it fulfilled. This isn't fantasizing. It's internal rehearsal. It's living ahead of your reality, stepping into the prosperity you want to manifest. When Margaret began practicing this, she would close her eyes and see herself at peace, debt-free, with free time, traveling, helping her family. She felt the texture of the new clothes she would buy, the smell of a calm breakfast, the weight of freedom, and the more she did this, the more her energy shifted. She stopped vibrating scarcity and began vibrating abundance, and the universe had no choice. It began reorganizing her circumstances to reflect this new frequency. But there's something crucial. You cannot feed your vision today and drown it in doubt tomorrow. You need consistency. You must revisit that image every day, preferably in the morning and before sleep, when your mind is more receptive. And more, you must protect this vision from opposing energies. Don't go telling everyone what you're manifesting, because other people's doubt can contaminate your faith. Keep it as a sacred treasure. Nurture it in silence, and let the manifestation speak for itself. But even with a clear vision, there is something that determines whether it materializes or not. And this something is so powerful that without it, nothing happens. Let's talk about that now. Faith is not believing something might happen. Faith is knowing it is already happening. It is the inner certainty that the universe has already received your request and is working behind the scenes to deliver it. Most people confuse faith with hope. Hope says, I hope it works. Faith says, it's already done. This difference is everything, because the thinking substance responds to what you truly believe, not what you pretend to believe. If you ask for abundance, but spend the whole day doubting, complaining, worrying, you're canceling your own manifestation. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Without it, your vision remains in the world of ideas, never becoming material. So how do you cultivate genuine faith? First, understand that faith is not blind. It is nourished by small evidence. Start noticing the synchronicities, the signs, the small victories the universe sends you. That unexpected money that appeared, that invitation that came out of nowhere, that discount that showed up exactly when you needed it. That's not luck. It's the universe saying, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm working. When you acknowledge these signs, your faith grows. And the more faith you have, the faster the energy of your manifestation accelerates. It's a virtuous cycle. Margaret learned to give thanks for every tiny sign, every extra cent, every small opportunity, and that multiplied her belief that bigger things were on the way. But there is one fatal error that destroys faith faster than anything else: living in the past. If you keep replaying old failures, financial losses, mistakes you made, you're telling the universe, I am the person who can't succeed, and it will keep giving you that reality. Faith requires you to release the past and live in the present with the consciousness of the future you're creating. It's not denying what happened. It's refusing to let it define who you are now. You are a creator. And what you create begins in the invisible field of belief. But faith alone is not enough. There is a daily practice that acts as a magnetic key, opening portals of abundance that have been locked. And you need to learn this practice now. Gratitude is the highest frequency you can emit. When you give thanks, you're telling the universe, I acknowledge the abundance that already exists in my life. And you know what happens? The universe responds by sending you more of the same. It's a simple but powerful law. A mind that lives in gratitude has no room for scarcity. It is constantly focused on what it already has, on what is already working, on what is already good. And this creates such a strong vibration that it attracts more blessings, more opportunities, more prosperity. It's not magic. It's energy. You become a magnet for whatever you celebrate. If you celebrate lack, you receive lack. If you celebrate abundance, you receive abundance. But true gratitude isn't just saying thank you when something good happens. It's thanking before receiving. It's thanking for the manifestation that is still on its way. It's looking at your life as it is, even if it's not perfect, and finding genuine reasons to be grateful. Do you have a roof over your head? Be grateful. Food on your plate? Be grateful. Health to wake up and try again? Be grateful. When Margaret started practicing active gratitude, she wrote down 5 things every night before bed. At first, it felt forced, but with time, she realized her mind began to automatically look for what was good instead of what was missing. And then her reality began to change. Here's the secret few understand. Gratitude is not passive. It is a conscious action that reprograms your mind. Every time you give thanks, you send a clear signal to the thinking substance. I am ready to receive more. And the universe obeys. But be careful. If you say thank you with your mouth but complain in your heart, it doesn't work. It needs to be genuine. It must come from a place of truth. And when you master this, something extraordinary happens. You realize you're no longer chasing abundance. You are being abundance. But this only completes itself when you act in a specific way, a way most people don't know. And that's what we're going to talk about now. Manifestation is not just thought. It's thought plus aligned action, but not just any action. It must be the right action, done the right way, with the right energy. There is a way of acting that magnetizes opportunities and another that repels them. The difference lies in the intention behind the movement. When you act with fear, haste, or desperation, you're vibrating scarcity, and the universe gives you more of the same. But when you act with calm, trust, and certainty that it's already yours, you operate in the frequency of abundance. Every gesture becomes an act of faith. Every decision reflects the consciousness of the person you're becoming, and the universe responds by aligning people, situations, and resources in your favor. Here's the crucial point. Acting in a certain way means doing what is in front of you with excellence, without skipping steps or searching for desperate shortcuts. If you have a job you don't love, don't slack off waiting for a miracle. Do your best there, because the way you do the small things trains your mind for how you will do the big things. Margaret stayed at her job while keeping the vision of her financial freedom alive. But she changed her energy. She stopped complaining, sabotaging, doing the bare minimum. She did everything with presence, as if each task were sacred. And you know what happened? Opportunities she wasn't even looking for started appearing, because she was vibrating at the frequency of someone reliable, capable, ready. Acting in a certain way also means treating the money you already have with respect. It doesn't matter if it's little. Organize your finances. Pay your bills with gratitude, not anger. Spend consciously, like someone who knows more is coming. It may seem silly, but it's energetic training. You are telling the thinking substance, I can manage abundance. You can send me more. And it sends it. But there is one final layer. Something that happens when you finally stop forcing and start trusting for real. It is the most powerful state of manifestation, and few people ever reach it. But you will. And that's what we're going to talk about now. There is a point in the journey where everything changes. You stop trying to control. You stop forcing. You stop checking your bank account in anxiety. You simply trust. And in that moment of conscious surrender, something magical happens. Abundance begins to flow. Not because you did more, but because you finally got out of the way. Most people block their own prosperity by trying to control every detail of how, when, and through whom it must arrive. But the universe is infinitely more creative than your logical mind. When you release control and keep your faith, you create space for the universal intelligence to work on your behalf. And it always delivers better than you imagined. This state of flow is not passivity. You still act, still have vision, still practice gratitude. But now you act with lightness, like someone who dances instead of fights. Your actions are not heavy, desperate, or anxious. They flow naturally, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly what to do and when to do it. Margaret reached this point when she realized she no longer needed to chase. She just needed to be ready, and being ready meant keeping her vibration high, her mind clear, her heart grateful. The rest? The universe handled it, and it did. Opportunities arose, money appeared, her life transformed, not because she fought harder, but because she finally understood the true nature of prosperity. Here's the final truth. Abundance is not something you achieve, it's something you allow. It's not something you pursue, it's something you attract. When you live with this awareness, when your mind is programmed for prosperity, your faith is firm, your gratitude constant, and your actions aligned, you enter a flow where everything conspires in your favor. Synchronicities become common. Miracles stop being rare. And you understand it was never about working harder. It was about working smarter, about aligning your inner energy with the external reality you want to create. And when you master this, life becomes a dance, not a struggle. But there's one last thing you need to understand, the true currency that governs all of this. And that's what we'll talk about next. In the end, money is not true wealth. Consciousness is. You can have millions in the bank and still live in internal misery if your mind vibrates scarcity, fear, or emptiness. But you can have little and live in real abundance if your consciousness is aligned with prosperity, gratitude, and faith. The real currency isn't the paper that circulates. It's the inner state you cultivate. It's the way you perceive the world. It's the belief you carry about who you are and what you deserve. When you change your consciousness, you change your reality, not the other way around. Most people wait for money to arrive so they can finally feel wealthy. But the secret is the opposite. You need to feel wealthy now so that money can arrive. Everything you've learned here, the thinking substance, the creative mindset, the clear vision, the faith, the gratitude, the aligned action, the flow, all of it is designed to reprogram your consciousness, to teach your mind to operate at a different frequency, to train your heart to trust in the infinite abundance of the universe. Margaret didn't change her life because she won the lottery or because someone gave her money. She changed because she changed inside first. And once the inner shift happened, the outer world had no choice but to follow. That is the power you have, the power that has always been within you, waiting to be activated. So now, look at where you are. Look at your beliefs about money, worthiness, and effort. Ask yourself, what am I vibrating? Scarcity or abundance? Fear or faith? Competition or creation? Your honest answer will show you exactly why your financial reality is the way it is. And the good news? You can change it now. Not tomorrow, now. Because true wealth is not out there. It's within you. It always has been. You just needed to remember. And now that you remember, everything changes. The destiny you thought was fixed? It's flexible. The life you thought was impossible? It's attainable. You just need to decide to believe, and then act like someone who has already arrived. So here we are. You've just discovered the hidden law that most people will never know. You now understand that abundance is not about working harder. It's about vibrating differently. It's about reprogramming your mind, aligning your energy, and trusting the thinking substance that responds to every thought, every belief, every emotion you emit. You have the map, you have the tools. The only question left is, will you use them? Or will you let this knowledge die here as just another interesting thing you heard but never applied? Think about it. How many times have you known what you needed to do and didn't do it? How many times did fear, doubt, or inertia hold you back? This is the moment to decide. Do you want to keep living on the same frequency, attracting the same results? Or are you ready to truly change? Because manifestation is not theory, it's practice. It's a daily choice. It's a commitment to a new version of yourself, the one who already lives in abundance, even before the money arrives. Margaret made that choice, and now it's your turn. So here's my invitation. Start today. Choose one practice. It can be the clear vision, active gratitude, or the mindset shift, and apply it now. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to feel certain. Act as if you are already magnetic to money, and watch the universe conspire in your favor. And if you want to continue this journey of transformation, of learning about prosperity, manifestation, and mental reprogramming, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because what you learned today is only the beginning. There is much more coming, and you won't want to miss it. See you in the next video. Until then, remember, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So be abundance. Now.